This is the Seven Figure Standard Podcast, hosted by Arash Vasugi and Mikey Stiller, with mindset and strategies to help you break through and create personal freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Seven Figure Standard Podcast. I'm Mikey Stiller, joined by my co-host, Arash Vasugi, and we are so thrilled to be back with you for another episode. Arash, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mikey. How are you?
I am doing great as well. You know, one thing I know about you, and I've known you for quite some time now, is that you have a plan for everything. You have processes. Everybody who listens to this podcast knows that you have processes for everything. When it comes to your goals, what is your plan of attack?
We got to look at this is, do I have meaning and purpose when we're looking at our goal? So everything we do is going to demand transformation. Everything will literally, we're either transforming or we're giving in. There's two types of people. They're either leveling up or they're giving up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was using this example to a group I was coaching. I said, let's say you're going for a 5-mile run. Would you stop at 1.5 miles and just turn around? And everyone's like, no. And I said, but if you watch your day, do you do whatever it takes? And they say, not always. And I said, what's different about the run? See, when we're doing the target, if we're going in the gym, we have a plan of what we're doing, if we're effective.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going for a walk, if we're going for a run, whatever we're doing, if we're driving, we have a destination. Yet in our day, why are people not succeeding? Because they give themselves outs and they don't keep their mind on the target. That's why the plan of attack is so important. Every month, I set one project that I focus on, that non-negotiable, this is what I'm doing in August. And then I create a plan from the end of what I would need to accomplish in order to hit that target.
Mm-hmm.
But then I take it to the micro level. Then I do it for the week, every week on Sunday. I say, these are the things that I would have to accomplish to hit X by Friday. And then I do it for the day. See, if we just win our days, we're going to win our weeks. We're going to take care of the months. We're going to take care of the quarters. The quarters will take care of the year. And so, but I want you to take a glance at this, what I'm about to say. Most people want to create amazing results. I think we would agree on that.
Yes.
Right? But they want to do it without changing. They say I change because I read books, I listen to podcasts, but are they changing? They're wanting to get the results without doing whatever it takes. And, you know, like I've quoted Trevor Moawad before. I love his motto where he says, it's going to take whatever it takes. Our goal is going to take whatever it takes. But to really become effective at your plan of attack, it's going to demand deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is not your current habits. This term I learned from Anders Ericsson. That's where the term came from. And Anders Ericsson talks about deliberate practice quite a bit in his books, but deliberate practice has to be delivered with an intention. So if I'm wanting to do better in August than I did in July, I have to practice deliberately what my weakness was or what my weakness is. Deliberate practice is not practicing your strengths. That's already a part of your identity. It's practicing your weakness, but it's not just practicing it, it's attacking it. Most people shrink from their weakness. I don't want to look at it. And deliberate practice is what is going to put your plan of attack on ultra speed. But it's drilling your weaknesses and not defaulting to what you're comfortable doing. So what you're comfortable doing is your strength.
Mm-hmm.
And deliberate practice is doing it over and over and over and over and over again until you create mastery, until it's automatized. So I can't continue doing what I did in July if I don't continue getting better at that, if my plan of attack is going to work. But always start with the end. This is critical. And always come with the attitude of letting go. We don't will it. We don't force it. We don't push it. We pull it. We've got to completely let go and assume what I want for the day is already done. And then I put all my energy, all my passion, all my effort towards my daily goal or towards the weekly, whatever somebody's focusing on. I believe it's the day because our day is how our week is going to look. Our week is how our month is going to look, what we're doing. So I often ask people that I coach, send me your plan for the day. And I don't say anything. I just say, keep sending it to me. Keep sending it to me. And then after a week, I'll jump on a call with them and I'll say, this is not a plan. This is a to-do list. This is about you being busy. There is nothing that I see on this plan that has to do with production. It has to do with what's comfortable. And so if we're going to change, we have to do different things. I've quoted Carol Dweck. She wrote a great book, Mindset. And she really polarized a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, is your present self. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is your future self. It's overcoming adversity. And whatever we're doing, like if I said to everybody, look at yesterday, did you have a bunch of juice in you? Were you on fire? If you were coming from your future self. You were coming with the attitude of it takes whatever it takes. Now, if you were like 60% in, understand you're training yourself to always have your standard at 60%. And I'm not judging it. I promise you, I'm not judging it. Because there's days where my mind is somewhere else. But my job is not to have 2 days in a row like that, because it's telling me, am I all in or am I all out?
God, this is so good. I just wrote down, there's several, you just covered so much. There's so many things that I want to go back to and have you go deeper on. You mentioned that everybody wants an extraordinary life. Yes. I would even say they want it, but not enough to commit to it. And so where does commitment come into this plan of attack?
Well, it first starts with daily transformation. You have to transform every day. Every day we want to beat our personal best. That's transformation. And what happens is transformation then leads to commitment. It really does. You say, I guess you could start with commitment first. You could say, I'm going all in and start with commitment. The commitment is going to demand courage, which is going to create the transformation because you're really doing it. And the courage is what's going to create the focus, hence deliberate practice. Deliberate practice takes a great amount of focus. And the focus is going to create the discipline. The discipline creates the result. But the key of all this, the absolute monumental idea here is you have to come from the idea of letting go. Letting go is not comparing yourself to somebody else. Letting go is with complete release of judgment. Now your mind is quiet, and now you're one with your subjective mind, and your subjective mind goes and creates the most amazing results. People stay stuck because they don't have that connection. They don't have that trust with their subconscious mind. So their mind is always going in chaos, and they're always doing things that are irrelevant because they're forcing it.
Yeah.
And so at the main point, we have to always come from letting go.
I would say, you also brought up deliberate intention. I love the way that you said that and you explained it. And I think that is missing for the mass majority of people. Yes, they want to do more and they may even have a goal. They may even have their goal written down, but that goal is off somewhere in the future. And their intention is just whatever's flying at me right here today. And that's where all of their attention and intention is. So how do you fuse the two together? And we have a whole episode on fusing with your goals. So I don't want to go too deep on this, but I do want to talk just quickly about fusing the present with the goal.
Well, everything is a distraction from your goal. Everything's going to be a distraction. Your ego loves to come tell you and negotiate with you of why you shouldn't go after something so big in the future. So everything's a distraction, but that's why intention is absolutely critical, and not just any intention. You've got to have a strong intention with juice, with fire. Like, this is what I'm doing no matter what. I am doing this today. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm going all in. And then you use less energy because your brain is trained to go to work on whatever you're putting the most attention on. So if we're putting attention, I'm going to have the best day of my year today. I promise you, if you let go, that's exactly what's going to happen. But when I say let go, it doesn't mean don't do anything. It means do your most important ideas. Really understand how important deliberate practice is to your success. I work with salespeople all the time. Everybody's a salesperson, but I work with them all the time. And I say, well, tell me, like, if you were going to sell me, what would you do? And I stop them right away. And I said, you are focused on getting. Our give has to be so much greater than our want. But you have to deliberately practice giving. If that's not a part of your identity. If you're in worry, doubt, and fear, I promise you, you're going to come from getting. So deliberate practice is looking at our weakness with an intention. So for example, I'll say, I want you to work on your first part of your presentation until you can't get it wrong. Until you can't get it wrong. Not until you get it right, until you can't get it wrong. Then you chunk it and that you work deliberate practice on the next stage and on the next stage. But we have to have a plan because you're going to grow so much in the doing than anything you hear me tell you. It's about the implementation that creates the results. Like I'm around people all the time. And all I do is feed off of their language will tell me what they're creating by default. You know what else will tell me? Their energy. Like, you'll talk to somebody, how's it going? It's okay. Right away, I already know where they're at, So we have to, if you want to create the most amazing results without strain, you have to pay attention to what I'm talking about today. Like if I'm talking to the person driving or running right now, okay, I want to ask you, do you have a plan for today? Or is it the same plan you've always had? I want to have a plan that is going to stretch me. I want a plan that's going to make me better today. And that's why our transformation and our personal transformation has to be sacred. We have to fall in love with the idea of getting better. Like, we have to fall in love. Then what's going to happen when we do that? We're always going to be working on bigger ideas. We're always not going to be satisfied. We're going to be grateful, not satisfied, but we know there's a bigger idea, a better way I can serve, a better way I can implement X process, a better way I can take my action with more confidence.
Got it. Okay, this is so good. Now I want to circle back to, you said you'll have people send you their plan every day for a week. And then at the end of the week, you'll say, this is not a plan, this is a to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
So if the majority of people are doing this incorrectly, give us some examples of what the plan should look like.
Well, it depends what the goal is with the plan. But let's say somebody said, I want to make 5 sales by Friday. Okay. Then my first question would be, is when you make a sale, how many appointments would you have to have? And then I'd say, okay, well, how many calls would you have to make to create those appointments? And they go, oh, I see what you mean. We have to be specific. And so for me, like, I never put a number. I never put a set number on anything. Like, if I have a daily goal, I do whatever it takes to hit that daily goal. I don't just say, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to tap out.
Yeah.
That's like my example of the person running 5 miles, say, you know what, I'm going to stop at 2 miles. Too many people are stopping at 2 miles when their goal is 5. And we've got to stop doing that. We've got to do whatever it takes. Like if the goal is that, then if at the end of the day you did everything you could, you completely let go, you were in the spirit, you were operating at the best version of yourself, and you didn't hit the goal, now you could look in the mirror and say, I won today without the result. Because what I will tell you is you just created a shit ton of good and invisible results for yourself. And it's going to compound, and you're training yourself how to win. I remember when I was first getting into selling, I thought, God, you are the biggest liar to yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'd be telling myself, oh, it feels so great that I achieved a sale a day. I'm on this streak. And one day, I was like having this inner conflict, Mike. And I was like, you're lying to yourself. Then one day this idea came. I'm not lying to myself. I was training myself how I was going to live in the future. All of a sudden, I let go of all this resistance. And within weeks, everything changed for me. Like literally weeks. But I was holding on to, I was lying to myself. But I wasn't lying to myself. I was training myself. Yeah. And I encourage everybody at the end of the day, whatever their goal is, tell yourself you accomplished it.
Okay, so that example is so good because you were lying to yourself in the right way, but so many people are lying to themselves in the wrong way, saying, oh, but you did the best you could. You know what? You don't have to do everything today. There's always tomorrow. They're giving themselves these excuses, and that is the wrong way to lie to yourself. Will you talk about the two differences there?
Yeah, I mean, one is pivoting forward, and one is training yourself. The other way is tapping out. Yeah. We've heard it since we were kids. 90% of success is showing up. Well, if we're not doing whatever it takes, we're not showing up. We're not giving ourselves a chance. And we have to interrogate our actions, interrogate our beliefs to make sure we're doing the right things. A lot of people are not creating results and they're frustrated because they're putting the effort, but they're putting the effort on the wrong things. And I've said this many times, quantum leaps is about elimination. It's not about doing 1,000 things. It's about focusing on the important few, not the trivial many. But if the important few are really not the important few, we've got to change that. So we've got to be flexible with ourselves.
Yep.
And I don't believe, I don't regret many things ever. I just don't. I chase failure. That's part of my philosophy. But one thing I regret, that if I ever let myself down, that I didn't do whatever it took for the day. That's the only regret I have. I don't have it if I might as well have taken that day off. I may as well have conserved my energy than plotted through the day. But we've got to be strong enough to be honest with ourselves. We've got to stop lying to ourselves. We got to stop saying, yes, I'm doing whatever it takes when I'm not. Because look, you may listen to this and say, this is way too extreme for me. And if that's the case, I'm probably not the person for you because I don't think it's extreme at all. I think it's called standard. And if you stack your standard over and over again, it's going to be your comfort zone. And then we create a new standard. But what you're going to reap in terms of reward is so minuscule in terms of the price you're going to pay. It is so tiny, the price you pay for this.
Yeah. Raj, I know you so well. I've known you for so long and I work really closely with you. So I know that you are very focused on each day and that we've talked a lot about daily goals. There are times, different times throughout the year that you'll step back and you'll look at a month view or a year view. Is your plan of attack different for a month or a year versus a day?
No, not really. I mean, my month is pretty far out for me, because I'm so focused on the day, but I have to do the month before I can plan the days. See, if I don't have a big enough goal for the month, the days is just going to default to who I used to be. And I don't want to do that. So I like having big monthly goals. I want to set a goal that's going to make me grow, because I'm obsessive. I commit, if I'm doing anything, I commit at the highest level, that's just my personality. I like new things, but a lot of people don't understand what growth means. Growth is the implementation of new ideas. That's what growth is. Like when you do something new, you feel good about yourself. Like you're like, oh, I did something new where you're uncomfortable and you did it new, but growth is what creates value. Value is what creates income. So they're so connected, but all this is based on really going all in with yourself. It's magical what happens when you do it. Like you say that I go do whatever it takes, you do the same.
Mhm.
And that's why we're so aligned. Like when we work on something, it's like it's already done. It's not a matter of like how long it's going to take. It's going to take as long as it takes. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I
There are
know
no other options, no plan Bs.
I know it's not going to be because of lack of effort. And I think, you sent me this clip of Angela Duckworth the other day, and I was thinking about it all night, and I was like, this is a example of what we do at Voss Coaching and what our team does. Because she was talking about grit is the number one key to success, which I agree. But she said, what is grit? It's having a big target and it's being on fire. I'm using my language, not hers. It's being on fire and being persistent and doing it over and over and over and over so you hit that big goal.
This is so good. This is one of my favorite episodes that we've done. Arash, let's get into the action step for today. So someone's like, you know what? They're listening to this. They're thinking, I need to change my plan of attack. You talked a lot about plans and deliberate actions and commitment. Where do they start? What do they do?
Well, first, my guess is people are listening to this and probably a lot of people are probably thinking, I don't have a plan of attack. Mm-hmm. But I don't want you to shame yourself. I want you to release judgment. I want you to completely release judgment. And I want you to think, what would I want just for tomorrow? Just do it one day. Just for tomorrow. I want you to plan like assume you were the best version of yourself. What actions would you have to take to achieve your daily goal? I just want you to do it for tomorrow. Then I want you to do it again the next day. And I want you to do this for 7 days. And I guarantee you're going to have the most productive 7 days. You're going to enjoy your 7 days a lot more. And you're going to be more inspired. I had somebody send me a message the other day, and they said, I'm stuck. My environment at my work is not great. And I said, do you want my help? And they said, sure. And I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick a target that is so much bigger that's going to cause you to dream again. I said, you're letting your environment infect your standard. And now you're putting things out in the future instead of doing them right away. See, we've got to start understanding our life is like an hourglass and it's going by. And all we have is today. Like today is the youngest we're ever going to be. And we want to take advantage of each day. And as we do that, you're going to be able to create wealth. You're going to create freedom. But people think they want all this money. It's not that the money they want to have the amount of money to enjoy the experiences. It's the freedom of choice, but that takes transformation. None of this works without transformation. And I encourage everybody to challenge yourself to pick a target that's much bigger than you can even imagine right now and build grit around it and start designing your processes and forget about how long it's going to take. But I promise you, it's going to be a lot less than you think if you do the right things.
Let's go. Arash, thank you so much. I hope all of you are as fired up as I am right now after this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends and family. Leave us a rating or review. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next week for another episode of the 7 Figure Standard podcast. Thanks, Arash.
Thanks, Frankie.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7 Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7 Figure Standard.